Hi everyone, this is Greg from TalentClick. Thanks for joining us today. I've been asked to do a short 15-minute presentation on how to predict the performance of your job applicants. And a lot of companies are asking us about the data behind what we do, the predictive analytics, especially when it comes to benchmarking top performers and then creating ideal fit scores to help recruiters and hiring managers understand at a glance, is this applicant a top performer? How likely is it they're going to be a great fit with the job and a great fit with our culture? So that's what this is all about today. So let's get going. Here's a brief agenda. We'll cover 5 bullet points. I'm just very quickly going to talk about who TalentClick is in case you're not familiar with us, but mainly we're going to talk about number 4, which is the benchmarking process. And that's where we really roll up our sleeves on this whole topic. At the end, I'll just cover briefly some research and case studies to really help you understand that what we do is proven to be effective. Okay, let's keep going. Here are some logos of our customers. You can see that we've got big multi-billion-dollar customers around the world. TalentClick actually has customers using our tools in more than 40 countries worldwide and in more than 20 languages as well. Another takeaway from this slide is you can see we're in all kinds of different industries. It's everything from natural resources to hospitality, to tourism, to transportation, utilities, manufacturing, and so on. So think about this. Have you ever hired someone that you thought was going to be a fantastic new addition to the team, and then 6 months later, you're left thinking, who is this guy? This is not who I thought they were going to be. And the problem is we always find this out after they've been hired, don't we? So this is the issue is it'd be great if there was a way before they were hired to really understand the probability of success and fit with the team. But too often we're just interviewing people using our gut instinct. And the research shows that that sort of gut instinct method has about a 50% success rate. It's a coin toss in determining who is actually going to be a great performer. And that's because we think we can read people well, but we really can't. An interview is a performance. Some people perform very well, others don't. And part of the issue is those people who don't perform well in an interview might be your diamond in the rough. You probably don't need them to be a great interviewer or interviewee. They need to go into the work environment and sit at a desk and do some great work. And they're not necessarily highly skilled at interviewing. So think about that. Here are some statistics on the impact of using assessments. So the first stat is from Aberdeen Research that says that businesses that use pre-employment assessments are 36% more likely than others to be satisfied with new hires. The second stat is from McKinsey, the famous consulting company, that says using assessments to hire top performers who fit yields up to a 67% higher productivity and profit. Remarkable, isn't it? And so this is what it's all about, is helping you find those people who are more productive, more efficient, can help with your profitability, can help fit with the team, enhance team morale, employee satisfaction goes up, your brand is improved as well. And at the end of the day, at the bottom there, you see more time for other duties. If you hire well and you've got someone who fits and is low maintenance and they're not going to leave and they're going to show up on time, then you don't have to worry as much about rehiring and training and so on. Okay, so this is really what we're all about, and good assessment companies should be all about being a good business partner and being attached to your KPIs and your metrics. We can't just give you nice little reports and say good luck. It's really about moving the needle with these things that you see on screen in front of you. Now, I briefly want to mention the current state of the industry versus the old state of the industry and why it's important. So the old state of our assessment industry is, you can see on the top row in the left, paper surveys. It used to be that a participant had to sit with an answer key and fill in the bubbles, and then at the end they would give it to somebody who would go in, mark it, and then type up a report. And it was all very manually labor intensive. And there could be human error as well. You see on the second row, human error. And because of all this manual labor intensity, it took days often for the turnaround of results. And because of that, it was quite expensive. And it was hard to really benchmark top performers because we didn't have the efficiency back then of all the cloud-based computing power and algorithms and so on. And so you see the right column where this is what it's like today. Everything's online, it's mobile friendly, at least it should be. Good assessment companies like ours and many others have everything online and it is mobile friendly. And we use the power of machine learning and artificial intelligence to create these, not only the fast results, but also those data-driven benchmarks. And I'll explain more about that in a minute. That's what this talk is really about today. And the other bullet point there is affordable. So we have been a bit of a disruptor in the field by passing along the savings to you, the customer, so that it now costs a fraction of what it used to. It used to cost hundreds of dollars. And in fact, that's what we used to charge a long time ago in a previous life. It doesn't need to cost hundreds of dollars now. We still have competitors that do charge that because they have this legacy portfolio of clients that are willing and accustomed to pay that much, but it's not necessary. Okay, so you can see the takeaway at the bottom is nowadays good assessment companies are providing better products, easier, faster, cheaper, more accurate due to the advances in technology. If you haven't done assessments yet, just have a look at this quickly. I'll walk you through this. It'll just take a minute. On the far left side, you'll see you can invite an applicant or an employee if you're looking at section planning, and you can also post that link on your careers page or embed it into a job ad. And when they do the assessment, it should take less than 15 minutes and it should be available in multiple languages. It should be written in a basic reading level as well. It should be non-invasive. And by that, what I mean is not questions about one's childhood or parents. It should be workplace related. And now that may sound obvious to you, but there are actually still assessment vendors out there asking questions that are inappropriate, and that puts you in a legally indefensible position. The final bullet point there is no adverse impact, so that's no bias against race, religion, gender, age, and so on, and that's highly important. The third box is after that participant completes the assessment and hits submit, their answers go into our black box of scoring algorithms, and then we go to the final image, which is the report delivery. So those results should be available in minutes now because of, again, the advances in cloud computing and cloud-based delivery of information. We store reports in the customer's cloud-based account automatically, so you can access those records from days ago or years ago. We also can push out the results in a PDF format. So it can be sent to anyone's email inbox, and we can split things up so it goes to one individual recruiter or hiring manager or different people in different locations. Lots of ways of doing that, okay? I'm not going to read all of this, but I just want to make it clear, just a plug for TalentClick, that we have all kinds of different psychometric assessments for all job levels. We do have the leadership profiles for people at the high level of an organization, all the senior managers and executives. But one thing that makes us different is we have taken it to the masses. So we have assessments for people at the lower level of any organization, people on the front line. So this could be people in a call center, people on a factory line or factory floor. It could be construction workers. We do lots with industrial blue collar companies. And before, it was way too cost prohibitive to be assessing all of those people right on the front lines in those lower level positions. But now you can, and especially when you have an unlimited use subscription, and we can talk more about that later. Okay, so let's get into the real meat of what we're talking about today. It's these benchmarked ideal fit indicators. So I'll show you an example, and this one happens to be from the world of transit. We have many transit organizations like Chicago Transit and Philadelphia Transit, which is known as SEPTA. And so what they've asked us to do is create an overall fit score for one position, let's say bus operator as an example. So you can see on the right in yellow, there's the number 74. So think of that as a percentage fit. This person, this applicant, is a 74% fit to this particular role, bus operator, in their organization. So this is one visual way that the recruiter or hiring manager can see at a glance whether this person is someone they should proceed with immediately or maybe tuck into pile B if they have an abundance of applicants for that role. So you can see the first section on this at the top in red, it says safety, because this particular role involves safety. They wanted that included. I'll show you another example here. This one is for banking, for credit unions. We have lots of credit union clients like Georgia Credit Union, San Francisco Firefighters Credit Union, and many more. They wanted a number of benchmarks on one report. So you can see at the top there are 4 gauges, or they look like speedometers. And atop each one, let's say teller is the number 80. So that person, this applicant, is an 80% fit to a teller role in this organization. And so what they wanted to know is, sure, this person might be applying for a teller position, but are they also a fit for a different role, such as call center or account representative, for which they're not applying? The 4th benchmark, branch manager, they also wanted to know, interestingly enough, is could this person be promotable in future? Do they have that potential to be a leader? Okay, so we added all 4 of those. So the takeaway with this is there's many different ways of visually representing the results, and it can be highly configured and customized according to your needs. So you saw how the ideal fit scores look. Well, how do we get there? How does it work? So step 1 is the benchmarking, and I'm going to do a very quick demo for you here in a minute. But the essence of it is this. You'd want to map your high performers and low performers, and then isolate the high performers and see where their scores are clustering. And we can show you how to do that in a minute. It's very easy to do, but it's highly informative. When you look at the clusters, you go, aha, that's what it looks like, or the scoring range looks like for these top performers. Okay. And then step 2 is, once you've got that kind of range, left to right, narrow or wide for each dimension, we can start overlaying this benchmark atop each dimension. So that's what that horizontal orange bar on top of each gray dimension looks like. All right. And it's different for every role, and often for different organizations in different industries as well. All right. So let me do a quick demo. I'm just going to exit out of this and bring up this. So this is our landing page on our website. You can see it's clean and easy. We've got lots of video tutorials and lots of reference and resource information. Here's the page that will return your results. So you can click on any of these. If I were to type in John Doe and then search, you can pull the report up and print it if you want. Or you can simply just click on this icon and look at PDF, and you can just look at the results on screen. So the recruiter doesn't actually have to print everything. Here you go. This one happens to be for Chicago Transit, but I know it's a generic John Doe one. So that's how easy it is to pull up reports. What I wanted to talk about today is this analytics tab. This is the benchmarking function here. So you saw in my PowerPoint, I showed you one of these scatter plot graphs. So each of these dots represents an individual person's score. Now you might look at this and think, well, Greg, I don't understand that. What's it telling me? That makes sense. I don't either. So let's do this. Let's attach, let's click on this button here, team average. So this gets a little bit more interesting. Now we can see the average for low performers is here versus high performers here. And you can see how it works on each of the dimensions. And now let's go into here and remove the low performers. So what's interesting is now you do see where the high performers are clustering. So that becomes informative when you're creating these ideal benchmarks from left to right, narrower, wider, and so on. Now, what you can do is overlay a benchmark for any particular position. Let's go HR recruiter, just as an example. So this is from our benchmark library, by the way. Okay, so you can see the gray shaded bar or box, and that then can lead to this horizontal bar that I was talking about. You can do this for all the benchmarks in our library. I'm going to do one for, let's say, taxi driver for our transportation clients. So lots of ways of doing this. If I go to that benchmark tab at the top, you can use our benchmark library, which, as I said, has hundreds of benchmarks in it. And so you saw me just pull up taxi driver, low performer. So you can do a low performer or a high performer. If I go back to this, let's do call center manager. Use the benchmark from the library. So you can see this first, this is for the WPP section. This first dimension, which is non-dominant versus dominant, is fairly narrow. So they want a call center manager to be fairly assertive, fairly dominant is what the dimension is labeled as. For other organizations or other roles, it might not have to be quite as dominant. It might be the ideal score range is this wide, or perhaps it's not as far right. So you can move each of these however you like. You can do it for each of the different sections. This one's the work values and attitude, WVA, same thing. And then of course you can save as a new benchmark. So that's a quick 100-mile-an-hour overview of how easy it is to use the portal and do that benchmarking that I'm talking about in the PowerPoint presentation. So let's get back to that. The other thing you can do here with that team analytics and group reports is you can plot different groups. It could be different teams, different locations, different business units. Could be people that have been on the job for 10 years or more versus rookies. There's lots of ways to slice and dice the data, okay? And this can be really interesting when you're looking at how different teams are performing. Maybe they're doing different things with training, or maybe the manager is better, and lots of things you can look at, okay? So we're almost done here. I said I would show you a bit of research and a few case studies. So this one is an actual benchmark, an actual report for an organization that provides 911 emergency operators. And they have hundreds of these operators. And so what they did is they benchmarked their top performers, and it came out that this is what their ideal score ranges look like. So it's interesting to see the range. They're not that far right or far left on some of these. But what they found out, let's go back. What they found out when they correlated the actual performance metrics with our assessments is that every 6% increase in the fit score is equivalent to a corresponding 25% increase in general performance. They found that to be remarkable, and it's really helping them hire people that end up with better performance ratings over time. And they're just better fit with the job and better fit with the culture. Okay, so that's just one example among the dozens that we have. We've got lots of customer stories from different industries. You can see on the far right, Pacific Western Transportation. We've been working with them for about 6 years now, and we've assessed, I think, over 10,000 people for them. The metrics that they've given us over time are, you can see on the far right-hand side, 25% increase in hiring high performers using our assessment tools, 16% increase in customer satisfaction, because what they have are bus drivers and motor coach operators that are dealing with the public. So they have customer satisfaction scores. The third icon down is 20% decrease in employee turnover, which is what they told us. And that's helping them save hundreds of thousands of dollars when they reduce employee turnover, because they're reducing those costs for rehiring and retraining and so on. And then the final icon is reduced screening time for new applicants. They weren't able to quantify that, but they definitely know they're spending less time because they can quickly glance at that assessment and know which resumes they should be prioritizing to interview first. Okay, hopefully that makes sense to you. So that brings us to the end. So the takeaways for this short presentation today are, I would encourage you to stop using your gut instinct to hire people if that's what you're doing. Add objective data, predictive analytics that doesn't care who the person is, what they look like, how they sound in an interview. If you're only using your gut instinct, you have about a 50% success rate. Now, one thing I want to make clear right here is I'm not here to tell you we will bring that up to 100% success rate. Any assessment vendor or provider that tells you that, well, that's irresponsible. The research shows that we can typically bring that up to about a 75% success rate in you hiring high performers. So not 100%, 75%. But going from 50% to 75%, that's a 50% incremental gain. and our long-term clients are delighted with that. Okay, bullet point number 2. If you add that objective predictive data in, you will go up to that higher success rate that I was talking about. That's the 75%. And bullet point number 3, as I was explaining earlier, measuring personality is now easier than it's ever been. It's faster and it's much more affordable with TalentClick in particular. I think there are a few of us out there that are now providing unlimited use subscriptions at a low cost. I would really encourage you to look at an organization that offers that solution to you, kind of like Netflix. You just pay a low cost. You're getting a high quality product. You may not use all of what's on the solution buffet, but it doesn't matter because it's there if you need it. And if you're not using it, it's okay because you're paying such a low cost anyhow. So that's the short presentation. There's my contact information. Feel free to email me directly at any time if you like, or you can just simply email info@talentclick.com. That's info@talentclick.com. Thank you so much for your time and interest, and have a great day.